Today we'll discuss the permittivity and relative permittivity. First of all, you have to know that what is permittivity. First, you have to know what is permittivity. Permittivity, the symbol is epsilon, as I said earlier in the class. Now, this permittivity is the property of the medium which determines the electric force between two charges in that medium. What I mean to say, if something of medium is controlling the electric force between the two charges, then you can clearly say that it is the permittivity. It is only the permittivity. Okay. Now this permittivity epsilon, it is called epsilon. Now how this permittivity regulates the electric force. How the permittivity regulates the electric force. Now here you see, suppose I will go for the force in vacuum. Suppose you have the two charges, and in vacuum in SI system, as I said, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square, and in medium it is 1 by 4 pi epsilon Q1 Q2 by R square. So in vacuum it is epsilon naught, it is in medium it is epsilon. Okay. So if you will go for this, suppose you will divide a vacuum by F medium, then it will be epsilon by epsilon naught, which is your epsilon r, and this epsilon r is also called K, that is equal to dielectric constant. So you got a definition, you got two definition of epsilon r or K in terms of permittivity, in terms of the force. If you have to define the dielectric constant of a medium, is defined as the ratio between, or relative permittivity of a medium is defined as the ratio between the permittivity of the medium and to the permittivity of the vacuum or the free space. Okay. Now if you go for the dielectric constant in terms of the force, then it is the force between the two charges placed in vacuum to the force between the same charges placed in that medium. Okay. Now as you know that epsilon r is always greater than 1, so force in vacuum is always greater than force in medium. Suppose, for an example, suppose you have the two charges and these two charges are shifting from vacuum to medium, then definitely it will decrease by epsilon r times, or you can say K times. Okay. Now this epsilon naught, epsilon is called permittivity of the medium, epsilon naught is called the absolute permittivity or the permittivity of the free space, and epsilon r is the relative permittivity. Okay. Fine. Now we'll go to the properties of Coulomb's interaction. Properties of Coulomb's interaction. Now here you see, first of all, this Coulomb's law is applicable to stationary charges or or rest charges, and it is applicable for the point charges. As I told already, point charges is that type of electric charge whose dimension is very less as compared to its effective distance. Dimension or size is very less than the effective distance. Now, this Coulomb's force is a central force. Central force means because the force is acting along the line joining the charges. The force is acting along the line. Suppose Q1 is exerting the force on Q2 as F12. Similarly, Q2 is also exerting the force on Q1 F21. So this is called your central force. The force which is acting along the line joining the center of the two bodies or the center of the two charges or joining the charges in general, it is called central force. It is also called conservative force. Conservative force. Conservative force means forces due to which work done is independent of the path followed by the body. That is called conservative force. And it is mutual interaction. Mutual interaction, or you can say it obeys the third law of motion. The force exerted by the Q1 on Q2 is equal in magnitude and opposite in direction to that force exerted by the second charge on the first. And you can see that if the product of the two charges is greater than 0, then the force is repulsive, and product of the charges is less than 0, then the force is attractive. Because you see, if one is plus and another is minus charge, then the product will be negative, so it will be attractive force. If both the charges are either plus or minus, then the product will be positive, so that's why it is a repulsive. Okay, fine. Students, we will discuss this principle of superposition in the class or later on. Now I'll go to the next portion. That is called electric field. It's called electric field. Listen carefully. What is electric field? Electric field. Suppose we say field. Suppose you will go for the field. Then it is the modified space. Space around a body is getting modified due to its property of the body. Due to the hidden property of the body, the space around that body. Due to the hidden property of the body, the space around the body is getting modified. Now this is called field. If that body has charge, then it is called electric field. If the body has charge, then it is called electric field. If the body has some mass, similarly you can say this is gravitational field. If the body has magnetism on it, then it is called magnetic field. Okay, so we'll concern here about the electric field. So how do you define? Electric field is the region or space around a charge or group of charges in which electric force can be experienced by any other charge. By any other charge. You see, an isolated charge cannot force on itself. Suppose a single charge is there. Can you expect that a single charge will experience the force on itself? No. So, to realize whether the effect of this charge is there or not, or the field is present or not, we have to take the help of another charge. And the second charge is brought to examine the field strength or the field created by the first charge. Now that second charge is called test charge. Second charge is called test charge. So, and the field which is producing a field of its own, the charge which is producing field of its own, that is called source charge. Source charge produces and test charge examines. Okay, so this is about your the Coulomb's force, or you can say the electric field. Now, as I said, the region or space around a charge or group of charge in which the electric force can be experienced by any other charge, then that region or space is called electric field. Charge produces field is called what charge? Source charge. And charge test the effect of source charge is called test charge. Then the second charge is called the test charge. And here you see, suppose the charge Q is creating the field of its own. Up to what distance it will experience the force, we have to bring another charge in the neighborhood of the or into the field of the source charge. Now you can see this is the source charge and this is called test charge. And you know that magnitude of test charge should be small, otherwise it will change the field created by the source charge. Yes or no? So what I mean to say, suppose there is a field created by the source charge. Suppose you say x is a point and y is a point, and q0 is the charge located at here, x point as well as y point. If a test charge does not experience any force at a point like your x, then you can say that the electric field at that point is zero. If means to have non-zero electric field strength, the point of observation should be inside the field, just like your y. So at x no field, at y field is present. Okay, now we'll find out right now the electric field strength or intensity. It is represented by the symbol E. Now I'll give some example here. Suppose Q is the charge, there was the empty space. Now first who is coming? The source charge Q is coming. Now it is creating the field of its own. Now in the field of the source charge I have brought another charge Q0. Let Q is located at the point O and Q0 is located at the point P. Clear? Now this distance, suppose this is your r. So as I said, you locate the test charge, and P is the point at which the test charge Q is located, and for Q0 of the charge the force is your F. For 1, how much it will be? F by Q0. So what is F here? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q0 by R square. Clear? So now to find out the electric field strength or intensity inside the electric field, first of all you have to choose the point of observation at which we are interested to find out the electric field strength. Now at that point of observation, like your P, now check it out how much force experienced by the test charge and make the magnitude of the test charge is unity. So in general it can be defined as, electric field intensity can be defined as force experienced by unit charge. So as I said, for Q0 amount of the test charge, the force is your F, and for 1 it is your F by Q0. So that's why this is called electric field intensity, or E is equal to F upon Q0. Now this will be Newton and this will be Coulomb. So electric field intensity unit is Newton by Coulomb, or sometimes it is also called volt by meter. How it will be volt by meter, I will tell you in the next chapter. Clear? Now to measure the electric field intensity at any point inside the electric field, the magnitude of the test charge should be small, as I said. So Q0 must be small, as small as possible. That's why in the limiting condition it is written that electric field is equal to limit Q0 tends to 0 F upon Q0. Okay. So since if in vector form you can write electric field is also vector, force is a vector. So electric field vector is equal to force vector by your test charge. And here you see electric F vector is equal to Q0 E vector. If Q0 is positive, F vector is parallel to E. Okay. If Q0 is negative, then F vector is anti-parallel to E. Okay. So electric field intensity is a vector quantity. First of all, its unit is Newton per Coulomb, and its direction is along the force vector if test charge is positive. If its direction is negative, the F vector is antiparallel to E if Q0 is negative. So to find out the directional relation between F vector and E vector, it depends upon the Q0. But for electric field, since electric field is vector, electric field is directed away from positive source charge and towards the negative source charge. Means suppose here plus q, then electric field is away from it. If it is minus q, then electric field is towards it. Are you clear? So for the positive source charge, electric field is directed away. For the negative source charge, electric field is towards the negative source charge. Now if you go for this, suppose I'll calculate the what is the electric field strength due to this point charge. Then here you see F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q0 by r square, and E is equal to simply F by q0. So this will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q0 by r square by q0. So that gives rise to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square. So electric field due to A point charge 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square. Okay, q by r square. Now magnitude of electric field intensity depends upon the source charge and depends upon the distance between the point of observation to the source charge. As I said, when you talk about let me clear one thing. When you talk about the direction of the force, in the expression for the force, this r represent the distance between the two charges. When you talk about the electric field, because at the location of the test charge, you are finding the electric field strength. So location of the test charge and the point of observation of the electric field strength is same. So when you talk about r, E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught r, this r is the distance between source charge q and point of observation. Source charge q and point of observation. Okay. And when you talk about this force, then this is the distance between q and q0. Clear? Okay. Now in unit, if you will go for this Newton per Coulomb, and in dyne for stat Coulomb or dyne for F Coulomb. This is in SI, this is in CGS electrostatic unit ESU, and this is CGS electromagnetic unit. Okay. So this is the expression for the electric field strength due to point charge, where the electric field strength due to point charge depends upon the magnitude of the source charge and the distance between the source charge and the point of observation. Keep in mind, electric field strength does not depend upon the q0 or the test charge. Clear? But whereas the magnitude of the force depends upon both the magnitude of the charges. Clear? Okay. Thank you.